Welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. We're in the kitchen again because I have too many of these. Let's make a BLT. The bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich. It is a classic sandwich, and really, in my opinion, you can only have a BLT existing for like 5 weeks out of the year. And that's when your tomatoes in your garden are ripe and fresh. Otherwise, don't even bother. Don't make a BLT with a store-bought tomato. You will be disappointed. But I've got a ton of tomatoes, and I've been working on recipes to try to use my tomatoes, and well, we're gonna make a good BLT today. We're gonna make two sandwiches today. We're gonna make the old-fashioned sort of on the fly, stuff it in your lunchbox BLT on Wonder Bread, the most simple BLT you can make. And we're gonna see if that sandwich stands up to a more polished sandwich, better bread, and even some avocado. We're gonna make two sandwiches today, so let's go. Well, the heart of a BLT is the tomato, because that's where that's the gem, the jewel. It's so rare to get a good ripe tomato throughout the year that once you've got some, yeah, that's the star of the show. But pick a good bacon as well. We've got this thick cut bacon, and we're gonna bake it in the oven. What baking your bacon does is it keeps it flat, and that's what we want. We want big flat planks of bacon so we can build up our sandwich. Okay, we're gonna bake. We're gonna set our temperature to about 375, put our bacon in a cold oven, and we're good to go. Check it out. I've cooked my bacon so that it is chewy. You could cook it a little longer and have a crispy bacon, but I like a little bit of a chewy bacon. For our basic version, we're going to need bread. We're going to use the classic Wonder Bread. Now this stuff, we typically don't eat Wonder Bread in this house, but because this is kind of the classic pack your lunch BLT, we're going to go with the most simple BLT there is, and that is 2 slices of Wonder Bread with some mayo on a paper plate, some bacon, tomato, and lettuce. The real chefs on YouTube who make real BLTs say that you should never use anything but your own homemade mayonnaise to really kick it up a notch. Well, I'm not going to do that today. This is Blue Plate mayo. Put it on thick and make sure it goes from edge to edge. This is the kind of sandwich you might wrap up in wax paper and put in a paper sack or a lunch box and send off to work with it. All right, now we need some lettuce and tomato. Here comes the magic. Gonna take some lettuce here. I like iceberg. I actually do like iceberg. I know it's sort of the lowbrow lettuce, but this is sort of the lowbrow side of the sandwich world right here. So we're gonna cut us some lettuce, about that much, and you can put it on in sheets or you can put it on shredded. We're gonna shred it. That'll give a nice little bed for the tomatoes and the bacon. Okay, bring our sandwich back into view here. Just going to put a bit of iceberg lettuce down. Nice. Okay, here's the star of the show. We're going to start slicing up some of these tomatoes, and you can tell that they're delicious by the way they look. I'm going to get some pretty thick slices here. Look at that. This is the rare gem of the garden that you can't get from the store. And that's what makes them so good. Look at that. Now I pick my tomatoes typically when they just start to blush. Before we move on, let me show you how to pick a tomato if you don't want the birds to get it. This is a tomato that is just starting to blush. You can just see some color on it. That orange down there, that's how I picked these tomatoes, when they just started to blush. The birds don't attract to these green tomatoes like they do something like this. That's a big red beacon that calls out to every bird in the garden, come eat me. So if you pick your tomatoes when they first start to blush, then you'll notice that on the countertop they gradually change color until they get this deep ripe color. And that's just as good, almost just as good as vine ripened. Vine ripening is always going to be the best for a tomato, but that's not always an option if you have to compete with the birds like I do. Let's see if we can get one more slice out of this. Yeah. So here's what I like to avoid in a tomato slice. If I'm going to grow tomatoes and go to the trouble of ripening them up, I don't want this green pith in here. So a tomato like this, I would cut around that and just use the parts that are prime. And the rest of it goes to the compost pile. All right, let's assemble a BLT. So we're just going to put a big old hunk and another big old hunk. And now some bacon. I'm going to break that bacon and just lay it over the top. I'm going to crisscross it. And we're going to close this sandwich up. And we're going to give it a nice press because you just saw it's got a tendency to slide around. So we want to kind of mash it together. That's your lowbrow BLT. Let's cut it open and take a look. Let's go this way. Look at that. That's like a beefsteak tomato. It's falling apart. It's going to be dripping all over your shirt. That's the way you want a sandwich. Okay, let's sample our basic BLT and have a baseline to compare our fancy BLT that we're going to make in a moment. Here we go. Yeah. It's actually really, really fantastic. And it's because of that tomato. Yeah, it's got that mayo you can taste. It's got the freshness of that summer tomato. The lettuce, it's all there. The bacon, that smoky bacon. Yes, this is a good sandwich. What we did not do on this sandwich, because it's a basic sandwich, is we did not salt or pepper the tomatoes. That's going to kick it up a bit, and we will make sure to do that on our next sandwich. All right, for our second sandwich, we're going to use a better quality bread. This is a sourdough loaf that my local bakery has cooked for us, and we're going to cut right out of the center of this some nice slices. About like that, 3/4 of an inch. We're going to take 2 slices of this bread here, and we're going to grill this in the pan and crisp up the outer side. Look at that. That's going to be a better sandwich. I'm going to heat up a pan. I'm going to butter the outside of my bread, just like you would if you were making a grilled cheese. And we're going to grill this in our pan, get it nice and golden crispy. You could do both sides if you want, but I'm only going to do one side. There we go, and we'll do the outside. Now we'll grill these and keep an eye on them, make sure we don't burn them. In the meantime, let's get our mayo kicked up a notch. We're going to use pre-made mayo, but we're going to kick it up a notch. I'm going to make a spicy mayo. I'm going to take some sriracha sauce. This particular kind is Tabasco's take on sriracha. And we're just going to put a little squirt of that in there and mix it up together. Now you don't have to do this step. I like a spicy mayo. You could do an herb mayo. Put some dill in there if you wanted to. Some basil. But we're going to go with a spicy. How are we looking over here? Oh yeah, we're getting there. Get a nice golden color on there. Let's crisp up that bread a little bit more. I think we're there. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's what we want. Perfect. This sandwich gets a proper plate. We're going to let this cool off though, because I don't want a hot piece of bread wilting my lettuce and ruining my sandwich. I've been waiting for this moment for over a week. Look at this grand, wonderful, perfect tomato. The variety of this tomato is a Bobcat variety, and I purchased these plants. I did not start this one from seed. I took a chance on some new varieties that I saw at my local grocery store, and well, this one's a winner. I'm going to slice that skin part right off and have my first look inside this wonderful tomato. Look at that. That's going to be wonderful. Let's cut some slices out of this big bad boy. Oh yeah, it's like a steak. That's what we want. Look at that. This is one of the finest tomatoes I believe I have ever grown. Oh, they're like the size of hamburger patties. We're only going to need 2 of those on our sandwich. We're going to add some creaminess to this sandwich with an avocado. So, with an avocado, you just cut down to the seed and you roll that avocado. Just cut all around until you're back where you started. I like to roll it on the board here. I see people doing it this way. I just don't like a blade facing my hand. You could pinch yourself real easy that way. Okay, so we've got it cut, just twist, and there you go. You've got 2 halves, one with, one without the seed. You ever seen it this way? This is the kind of traditional way to slice an avocado, and then just pull it out and it's already in slices. It's a little messy too. Let's see if we can do it. Brilliant. Okay, first things first, we're going to use our spicy mayo and give a good liberal coating to both sides. Again, if you don't like the spicy mayo, you could use any kind of plain mayo, herbal mayo. Mayo is really diverse. You can put herbs in there and really kick it up. You could put all kinds of wonderful things into a mayonnaise. Now, let's add our lettuce. Now you could use romaine or a green leafy lettuce. A lot of folks really like that green leafy lettuce. I like the crispiness of a basic iceberg lettuce. I like the flavor of it. So I'm going to use what I like. You use what you like. All right, here comes the star of the show. Look at that. We don't even have room for another one over here. I'm going to have to cut this one in half. Look at that. Fit it in just like a puzzle piece. Now, here's what we're going to do different. We're going to salt this tomato, because what that will do is help to draw out moisture from that tomato and make this even more of a juicy sandwich. Now we're going to add a layer of our avocado. This will make a very creamy sandwich. I'm going to add some of these thin ones. We're already getting to be a beast of a sandwich in terms of thickness, and we must be able to eat it. This is what summer is all about. BLTs. Let's find some good bacon to put on here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to really fill up the bacon here. There we go. 6 pieces of bacon. And we've kicked this up a bit now. This is not just a basic BLT. It's a bit of a more sophisticated BLT. Look at that. Now we're going to give it the push. And we're going to cut it open. And try it. Now for the big reveal. Let's go to the table. Check this out. There's our BLT. Look at that. Delicious. Nice and colorful. You can see the different layers. We've got green, red, green bacon. Wow. I can't wait. Let's dig into this one. Let me try to eat this. Here we go. That is hands down one of the best sandwiches I've ever eaten. Wow. Smoky bacon. A little bit of spice, that creaminess of the avocado. This is a sandwich that's going to fall apart as I eat it because it's so packed and it's so slippery, so juicy. Oh wow. That tomato, I barely got any of that tomato. Let's go again. Here we go. This is the kind of sandwich that wants to wrap around your face. Have plenty of napkins. Salt on those tomatoes, you can taste it. I did put some black pepper on there, though I failed to record. Very good. Now, does this sandwich outshine the lunchbox version? I think they're both good. On this sophisticated sandwich, it's delicious. You get a lot of flavor. There's a lot of flavor profiles in there. There is some salt coming through, some cracked black pepper that I unfortunately didn't show you because my camera didn't record that. But there's a lot of flavor here. It's delicious. It's a wonderful sandwich. This is probably one of the best sandwiches I've ever eaten. What about the white bread sandwich? The one that's almost gone, that's mangled and juicy now. This one, I gotta say, this is a very good sandwich because it's tomato forward and there's not a lot of other flavors competing against the tomato. And with a ripe tomato, a garden ripe tomato, the tomato is going to come forward. If you had a store-bought tomato in here, the bacon would come forward because the store-bought tomatoes taste like styrofoam. There's no flavor to it. So that's why these are so special at this time of year. That's why I'm making BLTs, because wow, there's nothing like it in the whole year except for the summer when your tomatoes come into ripening. So friends, I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna go eat these sandwiches and enjoy my summer tomatoes because this is what it's all about. And thank you for joining me on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. We will have a video coming out tomorrow about summer pruning. Tomorrow is the summer solstice and we need to keep our fruit trees small. So we will actually have gardening content, but I'll tell you what, our local weatherman said we have one more day of extreme heat before we get back to abnormally high heat. It's so hot out there, my tomato plants are done. They're not producing any more viable blossoms. The fruit that's out there is going to ripen up and we're going to rip it out and do something else with our garden. But until I have to get out there and do that, I'm not going out in the garden. So lots of cooking videos these days. Take care, happy gardening, happy cooking. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.